Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about complex PTSD from surviving to thriving. It's a book here and it's by a gentleman called Pete Walker, if you can see that clearly. I'm going to run through 13 tips from this book on how to manage flashbacks, because a lot of people who've been through child abuse, sexual abuse and verbal abuse in general, basically means that we as adults, we can go into flashbacks, and we generally will call it anxiety or panic attacks. We won't understand why we have them, and we need to get to a point where we are managing them so that when we have them, we don't get scared, and that we've got some tools to pull ourselves out and to know that we're safe in the world. And this is a process, it takes time. For me, I had to do a lot of work on myself, and the interesting thing is, towards the end, not the end of my healing, because healing is never like a one-off thing. We don't know when we're going to be triggered by something that we see or think or feel, or even dealing with another human being, what they might, trigger us, or life is just ongoing. So when we know we have a tool that we're able to guide ourselves, we've got some sort of map, which means that we're not, we know when we're having one, and we say, oh, I'm having a flashback. So the 13 tips I'm going to go through, I'm going to put the book link of Pete Walker at the end of this video, and then you can have a look at that. If also letting go techniques, Penelope Ryder letting go techniques, that's my Facebook page, and I do sessions with people to help them with complex PTSD, childhood trauma, which I completely understand because I've been there myself, and I use tapping, Faster EFT and Neuro-Linguistic programming, and I also help people plan their futures so that we've got something to look forward to in life. I'm not talking about the magical stuff, I'm talking about really getting our lives together so we feel a sense of meaning, that we've got something to look forward to in life. Not just the nice things like the dream stuff, but the daily stuff. Okay, so 13 steps for managing flashbacks from Pete Walker's book. The first one is, say to yourself, I am having a flashback. So the minute you realize you're having one, and it may take you some time to figure this out, that when you've been going into anxiety, that really what's been going on is that you have been having flashbacks. And a lot of us, me myself, when I realized this, that that's what was happening with me, I was surprised how many times a day I was going into flashbacks, most days. Now I'm beginning to, have this sense of peace most of my days, and it's a result of knowledge, and it's a result of tools, and it's a result of having a plan for my future 3 to 5 years ahead, where I know I'm working towards something that's ongoing. It's not like a final point. Okay, so say to yourself, number one, say to yourself, I am having a flashback. Flashbacks take us back to a timeless part of the psyche, okay? So sometimes we don't know what memory we're going back to, but it's a feeling in our body. And the thing that I teach people to do in that moment, we're having a flashback, we know, we can just tap on the collarbone, which brings the parasympathetic system, it kicks in the parasympathetic system, which means that it takes us out of fight and flight. But if we say, I am having a flashback, we are softening the fact that we are having one. Number two, remind yourself that you might feel afraid, but that you are not in danger. And clearly, if you are in danger, you move. We do that automatically in flashback. It's like if you saw, or fight flight, you see a huge big spider crawling across the floor, your heart's gonna start beating fast, and you're gonna feel like you can't breathe and stuff like that. And that is what a flashback sometimes feels like. Sometimes it can be anger. A flashback can be feeling extremely angry and not knowing, how to deal with that anger. So again, remind yourself that you're not in danger and that you're safe in the now. Number three, own your right and need to have boundaries. So if somebody is crossing a boundary, you know, somebody's standing too close to you, or somebody's saying something that's triggering you, using words that may be re-triggering childhood trauma, tell them, you know, have a boundary, say, I don't like that. It's okay to tell people what is okay with us and what is not okay with us. We are unique, we are not all the same. Number 4, speak reassuringly to your inner child. So in the NLP part of Faster EFT, we do a process where with a child, the inner child, you know, if I saw me in front of myself now, you know, me as a child, I could look at that child and put her on my lap and, you know, let her know she's safe. Speak to that inner child and let her know it's okay. And bless us for those who have been through abuse, because, you know, it's an absolute nightmare and a minefield as an adult to work through it, but it's possible. I'm living proof. We've got 5, deconstruct eternity thinking. So, you know, when we were small, we didn't know, you know, when it was going to end. We had no concept of the time, so to speak. So, you know, we were just experiencing things in the moment. And as an adult, we can know, you know, this is flashback, it's going to end. 6, remind yourself that you're in an adult body. I am an adult now, you know. If I think of my little child and I hold her hand, me, small Penelope, and I can say to her, you know, you're okay now, I'm here for you. 7, we can ease ourselves back into our body by, Pete Walker doesn't say this, but I'm just saying, I'm trained in it, so I'll say just tap on your collarbone, but you can, which helps you to regulate your breathing as well. It pulls you out of fight and flight. But that means that we relax the muscles as well. And he's saying this, you know, we can gently ask the body to relax, or we can also tap. Then we have number 8. Resist the inner critic, drasticizing and catastrophizing. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. And we've got to be able to not criticize ourselves when we're in one, because if we criticize ourselves, we're shaming ourselves, and that's going to make things worse. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to take 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. This is the journey of life. We have feelings, you know, we don't know when we're going to cry in the future. We don't know when something's going to be hilarious and make us laugh. Those are feelings, and that's the joy in life. If we, you know, want to be fixed in our emotional state, then we're not human. Then the number 9, so we've got to allow ourselves to grieve. So the flashbacks that we remember, it's okay to remember how, you know, if somebody was horrible to us, we have to claim that and hand back that hot potato. We don't have to say, oh, well, they didn't know what they were doing, and we can be angry about it. We don't have to be angry at that particular person, but we can get cross and, you know, and cry and whatever we need to do. Number 10, have a safe relationship. I've got a couple of friends that I absolutely know when I speak to them, they love and adore me, and they will, you know, I can speak to them. So if I say, oh, I don't like that word, if they're using a word that's, you know, maybe unsettling for me, I can explain to them why. They can, and then also verbal ventilation helps, being able to tell somebody else the absolute truth. And share that with a friend, you know, try and make it 50-50, because often people have been through stuff too. So I'm finding sharing, you know, the conversation, you know, we've got to listen to each other too. But in a moment of flashback, we're more needy. So that's okay. No criticism for not sharing in those moments. 11, learn to identify the types of triggers and that lead to flashbacks and the places. So if a place or a particular person puts you into flashback, it is okay to stay away from them. You know, it really is okay. And if we think we can't get out of a situation, we really need to look at it. You know, this is our life, okay? This is now how we're living. This is not a prison sentence. If somebody is not for us, you know, if they're not being loving and kind, it's okay to think, you know, this is not good for me anymore. Number 12, figure out what you're flashing back to. Validate your wounds. Very important validation. And 13, be patient, because it's a slow recovery process. And it takes time for the adrenals to calm down and to become normalized in who we are. Because if we spent, you know, for myself, probably 40 years, you know, in flashbacks and anxiety and panic, not constantly, but, you know, the body becomes hyperventilated, and we've got to normalize. And we can do that with foods, we can do it with tapping, we can do it with meditation, we can do it with change of lifestyle, but it is a process. So that's why we need to also look at planning our future. So if I can help you, or you want more information, Penelope Ryder, Letting Go Techniques page on Facebook, and then feel free to ask me any questions, and the book link I'll put below. And I really thank you for listening to me, and share the video if you know somebody who's been through trauma, you know, and they're really struggling to get over it, and maybe they have an addiction because of it. You know, I myself did have that issue, because I couldn't cope with flashbacks. I, you know, turned to alcohol for quite a number of years, and I freed myself of that in 2012. So we can transform, you know, into that beautiful, you know, butterfly. We can transform, and it's not a fixed point. So we are not doing the all or nothing thinking. You know, we move. Okay. Thanks for watching. Thank you.